Well, good morning and Merry Christmas, my lovely, amazing artist. As you can see, I am in the Christmas spirit. Is this not the bestest mug evs? Right? And it got me thinking this morning, we need to do more Christmas fun art. So let's go get artsy fartsy. All right, see you in a second. All right, guys. So let's do a fun Christmas direct to draw. Now, we've done our snowflakes, right? Hopefully you guys have tried some of those out. They're kind of fun. So today we're going to do some drawing, and I love me some little chunky monkey gnomes. You're so squishy, right? So we're going to draw some gnomes today. Super easy, and you can kind of tell sitting around I have used all different kinds of material. So I want you to use what's at your house. If you have super cool crayons or regular crayons, these are some new crayons that we got the other day. They're kind of different. If you have markers, you might have markers. Now, you know, of course, Miss Patterson has fabulous markers. These are called brush tips. They're more for big kids like me, but if you have brush tips, go for it. You might have colored pencils, right? I got some awesome colored pencils. Or you might even have watercolor, right? And so, oh my goodness, it tried to explode. If you have some watercolor, you can use that. But I'm telling you, basic stuff is gonna work just as good. So markers, colored pencils, crayons, whatever you've got. The main ingredient that you're gonna need for Gnome McGnome pants, a piece of paper. So if you could, go get a piece of paper and possibly a pencil and meet me back here. We'll see you in just 2 seconds. Ready, go. Hey guys, we've got our pencils and our paper, and I have a very special person that's drawing with me today. I'm going to scoot over my paper and bring her on over. It's my daughter Emmeline. Hey Emmeline.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
So she's going to be drawing with us today, right? I'm going to scoot her over just a smidgy poo so you can see my paper, and then every so often we'll check in with her and see how she's doing, right? All right, so we have our piece of paper. I've turned it the tall building way. Now, like I've always said, if you're the kind of artist that likes your paper turned this way, turn your paper this way. That doesn't hurt. Maybe
You can draw some tiny little gnomes. You could have a whole little family of fatties.
right? But today I'm going to show you how to draw one big one, and then if you get really good and you want to go on and draw a bunch of them, you can, all right? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to start with Gnome McGnomer Pants' hat, right? What kind of hat does he wear? Is his hat tall and pointy? Is it flopped over, right? You could draw any kind of hat you want. What shape is that hat, though? It's a triangle, right? So now, is my triangle totally straight? No, hats aren't totally straight. So what we're gonna do is about half-C's way, if you guys would just draw a line, kind of like that. And maybe I should draw with a Sharpie because it's not showing up, right? I'm gonna actually draw with one of my, I want you to draw with a pencil, but I'm gonna draw with something that shows up a little bit more. And I don't want my line to be straight. I want it to be kind of flopsy-mopsy. Right? All right, and I kind of want the ends to be like a sad face. They kind of point downwards, right? All right, now once we have that line, everybody got that line? All right, let's go and make this triangle. We're gonna keep it simple, and we're gonna go up, and my line's gonna be kind of wiggly, schmiggly, not curvy-wurvy, just kind of flopsies, just like that, right? So I have a floppy triangle, right? How you doing, Emmeline?
I would say good.
All right, she's making some decisions. She's had to erase already, which I'm sure you've had to erase already, right? So she's making her decisions, and we're gonna show you hers in here in a minute. All right, so you can see there's Emmeline's, right? She's already had to erase, and that's okay if you have to erase. There's her triangle. All right, best part next is Snoot. I love these gnomes. You know why, guys? Don't have to draw their eyes. It's the best part, but you do have to draw their snoot. What shape is their snoot? Yes. What is it, Em? What shape? Quick. It's a circle. Obviously, she needs to go back to kindergarten. All right. So right here, now, are we going to have to draw the whole circle? No. We're just going to draw part of the circle because the other part of the circle is under their hat. So mine's a big snout, but look what Emmeline did. She drew
A little snout.
So most of his nose is under his hat. You could totally draw half a circle like Emmeline did, right? I drew a bigger snout. I like big honking snoots, right? Yeah. All right, so now we're going to draw his body. We're not gonna draw his beard yet, right? Now, this is where we can kind of go off and be a little different. So I'm gonna come on the left side and I'm gonna draw kind of like, I don't know, it looks like a big old flour sack. That's right, it looks like a big sack, right? Kind of like a circle, right? Like a big old butter bean. So go ahead and draw your big old butter bean, right? And then at this point, we can make some huge decisions. No, Emmeline's is excellent. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. Very good, very good. All right. So now, if we're just drawing a dude, or this could be a girl, we gotta add his beard in there, right? The beard's the most fun part. So the beard, you're gonna come up and almost to the edge, and the beards are kind of zigzaggy. And they don't have to be, we'll start on this side. You can do your beard any which way you want. So there's his, woo, that's a crazy beard, right? So now he's got his beard. We're gonna wait until Emmeline so we can see her beard. All right, so there's Emmeline's beard. It looks good, right?
I'm gonna add a point.
Okay, she's gonna add a point. If you like a pointy beard, you don't have to have a pointy beard. You might have a fluffy beard like a Santa Claus beard, right? So now, I like to add arms on mine. If you wanted to keep him like this, he doesn't have to have arms. Watch, arms are so easy. You're gonna come off the side and kind of create a letter L. See how I did that with the letter L? And then you're gonna do it on the other side, only it's gonna be a backwards letter L. Just like that. Those are his sleeves, right? And because this is a gnome and we're kind of making him up, we don't have to draw his hands. We don't have to draw all those fingers. So watch what we're gonna do. We're just gonna draw a little bit of a circle. Maybe he's got mittens on. Little part of a circle. Look, now he looks like he has hands. Isn't he cute? And one last thing, because we don't want our gnome floating in the kind of a little bit above the bottom, draw a line. That can be the snow. I like to draw it a little high, but I'm gonna show you what Emmeline did, and she drew it a little lower. You want to be careful with that. If you were to start down here and draw it, it's going to look like he's sitting on the edge of the table, right? That's why I like to draw it kind of far off in the background, so he doesn't look like he's sitting on the table. It looks like he's sitting on the ground or the grass or the snow or wherever. Now, if you have room, I don't have any room. I could make it up though. If you wanted a little ball on the top of his hat, a little puff ball, you could add it. We are done with our gnome, right? That's him. Now, I want to show you some different ideas before we go on to coloring. Here's a girl gnome. Maybe she has pigtails, right? You could totally do a girl gnome. She has a hat, right? You could put a puff ball on there, right? It doesn't have to be a boy gnome. Maybe, I'm gonna draw one really, really quick for you. Maybe he has a really long pointy hat. Almost like, what are those guys that, the sleep hats, right? There's his snoot, and maybe this guy has a real furry, floofy beard, right? And there's his body. And I did it kind of backwards. Right? So you could have your gnomes be totally different. They don't have to look all the same. They can all be very, very different.
I added snowflakes.
Right? Yeah, and so we're gonna add some different things to him. So once you have your gnome drawn, there's the fun part. So now, in my example, I just colored him in simple red and green, right? But you could totally make his hat fancy. Maybe you add stripes to his hat. If you curve your lines in stripes, you know what it does, guys? It makes it look more realistic. So my lines are not totally straight across. So that guy has that one. And maybe he has, I really like M snowflakes. I'm gonna add snowflakes. Ooh, this is probably a bad idea. On his outfit because my crayon is so big. Right? So you can decorate their outfits. Anyway, she even made bumpy lines. She said she wanted to make it look more like snow. Right? So you can change these guys into want them to be, right? You could do snowflakes out here. Let me show you a really cool way to draw a snowflake, right? If you did, what letter is that? A T. And then you put an X in the middle, make it a little shorter. Sometimes I have to make mine longer because I get too short. All right, so you have a T with an X, and then you put V's on the end of all of them, right? And sometimes you have to adjust. It starts to look more like a snowflake, right? And then you can even put little V's in the middle. Now, nothing says yucky like a black snowflake, but it helps too if you have a not a fat crayon like me. Sometimes pencils and markers are better at snowflakes. You can make them big, you can make them small. Right, so there's another snowflake. Right, you could do them way off into the distance. And that way, when you do them tiny like that, you barely have to do anything. Right, you could put hair lines for their beard. So it looks like they have stuff like that, yeah. Right? Maybe, I don't know, you could do so many different things. Yeah, look, St. Emiline's is coming along. So then you can start to color your little dude in, right? Now, I did something fun with mine. I outlined it in Sharpie first, and then I did colored pencils and markers. Did you know that you can go color with the colored pencils first and then go back in and darken the edges with a marker, which is kind of fun. I even did with my watercolor. I tried to do the crayon, I don't know if you can see that, the white crayon with the watercolor on top, and I don't know if my crayons were bad or my watercolor was bad, but it didn't work. So I had to readjust. So you could paint swirls in the background. Oh, you know what I just thought of? What if I could do some more lines in the back? Look at that, and it looks like the mountains, and do maybe way far off in the distance is the North Pole. Yeah, so, and look, you don't have to do a lot because it's so far away, our imagination kind of handles it, right? So way off in the distance is maybe where he lives, his little village, right? I don't know. I'm just kind of making some stuff up. Oh, Emmeline put snow. Oh, that's smart. She put snow on top of the mountains.
I love
Can I show yours? She didn't do the village. Look, she did snow on the mountains. They're kind of far away, right? I really, really like that.
It's kind of like ice cream.
It is kind of like ice cream,
Like
that's
coming
right.
down.
So you can totally use colored pencils. Let me show you. So I'm going to take my red colored pencil. Now mine look a little different, but that's no big deal. I like to turn, if I have a really big area, I turn my pencil sideways. All right, and I'm going to color this whole thing in. Of course, I'm going to do mine Christmas colors because, as you could tell at the beginning of my video, I'm feeling the Christmas vibe with my Christmas mug. I bet everybody's feeling the Christmas vibe now. Everybody's making cookies, wrapping presents. Hopefully you guys have written a letter to some big jolly gentleman that, you know, brings you some goodies, right? I know Emmeline plays with our manger scene all the time. Baby Jesus is always at a different place, and the wise men are always doing something crazy. Right? So now I didn't color this in the best I could because you guys don't want to hear me talk the entire time, right? But you're going to color this in really good. You're going to keep your strokes really, really close together so it doesn't look like you scribbled soups hard, right? I'm just going to keep filling this puppy in. Once you've got it all filled in, much like this one, right? You can take a marker. Now, like I said, my markers are fancy, right? But you can take a regular Crayola and kind of go over it. And this is going to kind of darken in some edges. It's going to take your drawing from to ooh, wowzers, right? Now, I do have some fancy schmancy markers here that are water soluble. That means that they, with water, kind of dilute, and I have the coolest toy that goes with them. So this guy, he's filled with water right here, so he doesn't write fancy, but you give them a little squeezy poo and the water comes out and it makes this turn into kind of like a watercolor, and it will smear my marker. You can probably do this with a lot of the Crayolas.
Can I try it after?
With a wet paintbrush, you know? But look what that did. Woo, fancy. It even kind of smears my colored pencils a little bit. But like I said, I have some fancy colored pencils, right? You might have watercolor colored pencils, right? That would be cool. My colored pencils are real fancy, right? Faber-Castell. And you can see mine are even, you can hit them with the water, and so that's why my colored pencils will turn into water paint, right? But your colored pencils will be just fine. All right, so go and create a gnome, name him. Maybe this guy's name's Fred, right?
Mine's Bob.
Or Bob, right? Or whatever, Icy. So enjoy your Christmas, create some gnomes and some villages, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.